Zaha Hadid, architect of Iraqi origin, embedded within the deconstructivist trend, with a bold, expressive and avant-garde futurism. Through her works we discover her innovative and revolutionary vision of architecture, with a masterful use of the curved line, where the limits of plasticity and spatial conception are crossed. The Vitra furniture factory commissions the construction of a fire station on the grounds of its vast industrial complex. The complex consists of a variety of large-scale factory buildings. The project stands on the street that marks the edge of the complex. The architectural program is organized in a long, narrow, linear building, emerging as a series of layers of walls that are perforated, tilted and broken, according to the functional requirements of the project. The building is hermetic from a frontal reading, revealing the interior spaces only from a perpendicular point of view. As the user walks through the spaces of the fire station, the large red fire trucks are perceived. The movement lines of the vehicles are inscribed in the asphalt. The building as a whole suggests the fact of a frozen movement. It expresses the tension of being alert, and the potential to explode into action at any moment. The walls form a moving scheme and seem to slide over each other. The volume is clad with apparent in situ reinforced concrete. A prismatic body devoid of decorative elements, where the simplicity of form and the abstract quality of the architectural concept are exalted. This absence of detail is reflected in the frameless glazing, in the large sliding doors that enclose the garage, in the treatment of the interior space and in the lighting scheme. The lines of light direct precise and fast movement through the building. The site is located on a corner lot in downtown Cincinnati. The Contemporary Art Center is defined as a forum for the exchange of ideas, a place for people of all cultures and ages to meet. It forms an important civic space in the core of the city. The openness of the ground level and the entrance of light in various parts of the building create diverse emotions in the passerby and suggests the entrance to the building. The ground floor slowly curves upward as it crosses the building and rises to become the back wall. The visitor will encounter a ramp running the length of the lobby, which appears to be suspended from the mezzanine. The ramp continues to ascend until it penetrates the back wall, passing through to the other side. It becomes the entrance landing to the exhibition galleries. The fundamental concept in the layout of the galleries is a jigsaw puzzle of the various exhibition areas. Long, short, wide or tall spaces, each with different lighting conditions. This concept shapes, on the outside, the composition of the building's volumes. As the project is built on a corner, it is possible to develop two facades with different but complementary readings. The south facade forms an undulating and translucent skin, through which pedestrians observe the interior of the building. The east facade is expressed as a sculptural relief. It provides a trace, in negative, of the gallery interiors. The central building of the BMW production center is conceived as a dynamic node where the flows of workers and visitors intersect, even the production line itself crosses it. A large zigzagging volume rises up, extending its extremities to connect to the three adjoining halls. 20 meters high, it appears as a landmark visible from the highway. Inside, it is intended to develop a new office concept that sets up the basis for future workspaces through the design of transparent and connected spaces. The areas are organized around two sequences of platforms, like giant staircases, ascending in opposite directions from the ground floor to the first floor. Each one is large enough to allow for flexible occupation, while enhancing visual communication and articulation between the different departments. Between them, a large void is left in which two conveyor belts with semi-finished cars float. The skeleton of the building is composed of prefabricated reinforced concrete elements and in situ concrete nucleus that help to give rigidity to the complex. Only the roof has an aluminum coating, which is supported by a framework of steel tubes. The new Museum of 21st Century Arts, MAXXI, is located in the Phaeno neighborhood in the northern part of the city of Rome. One of the museum's intentions is to blend into the urban fabric to form a campus that functions as an extension of the city, blurring the boundaries of the institution. The project is organized around the ideas of directional flows and density distribution, creating an exhibition environment rather than an architectural object in the traditional sense. The physical materialization of these flows generates sinuous forms and structurally and functionally complex spaces. The two museums represented in MAXXI, the Art Museum and the Architecture Museum, spin around a large central void that connects the entrance with a cafeteria, a bookstore, an auditorium, event areas, training rooms, and rooms for the exhibition of the temporary and permanent collections. The museum is conceived as a multi-purpose exhibition space, providing flexibility by using the walls as spatial elements. The exhibition wall takes different forms, such as solid wall, projection screen, canvas and exterior window. When necessary, the walls become floors, twist to become ceilings or suddenly disappear to form windows. In this way, the walls become dynamic and can accept any change in the exhibition space. The mobile panels bring dynamism to the layout of the exhibition. There is no direct route through the museum. The lack of obstacles creates a sculpture of black steel and concrete curves, accentuated with flashing lights. Pathways lead to galleries and dead ends, forming an intricate puzzle landscape. Located on the banks of the Pearl River in the Chinese city of Guangzhou, the new Opera House is conceptualized from the principles of local topography and geology. Its design simulates the erosion of two rocks caused by the passage of water, with a spectacular steel grid supporting an envelope of glass and granite slabs. The smaller volume houses a multi-purpose performance hall, while the larger one is the main auditorium. Surfaces with corrugated lines allude to the river valleys of the region and define territories and zones within the building. A dramatic interior with large voids is generated in order to contain the circulations, corridors and cafeterias, allowing natural light to enter deeply into the building. The smooth transitions between the uneven elements and the different levels maintain this analogy to the landscape. Inside, in the rehearsal rooms, molded plaster reinforced fiberglass units were used to enhance this language of fluidity and continuity. Their design, with sinuous and continuous lines, opens up to the riverbank and the dock area, creating a rich and dynamic dialogue with the new city. The Science Center complements the northern edge of Wolfsburg's inner city and serves as a connection to the new Volkswagen City, located across the street from the station. Despite the complexity and peculiarity of its forms, the building responds to a very clear structural system. A series of irregular concrete pillars supporting and traversing a large triangular building mass. These concrete cones remain as islets after subtracting the material corresponding to the pedestrian and vehicle flows that cross the site and configure a highly porous space on the first floor, which functions as a continuation of the esplanade of the nearby station. The consequent space is more reminiscent of a landscape resulting from geological processes yet to be concluded than a floating technological artifact. To achieve a sense of dynamism in keeping with the building's formal layout, the reinforced concrete slab has been lightened by using rhomboid-shaped caissons as formwork. In order not to interfere with the flexible configuration of the exhibition space, the installations are arranged in a mesh containing the necessary ducts for ventilation, lighting and air conditioning. In this way, museum designers will be able to easily use this grid, both in setups where the space is understood as a single large enclosure, and in those where it is necessary to temporarily divide it into independent rooms. The lighting will be used as a system to guide visitors through the building, marking access areas, exhibitions and other points of interest, with a more intense illumination that contrasts with the existing gloom in the rest of the center. The Heydar Aliyev Center, conceived to become the main building for the country's cultural programs, breaks with the rigid and monumental Soviet architecture that dominates Azerbaijan's capital Baku. With the intention of expressing the sensibility of Azeri culture and the optimism of a nation looking to the future. Its wide curvilinear form with elaborate formations such as undulations, bifurcations, folds and inflections, modifies the surface of the square into an architectural landscape that serves a multitude of functions, welcoming and directing visitors through the various levels of the interior. The conventional differentiation between architectural object and urban landscape, building envelope and urban plaza, interior and exterior, is blurred. The project is mainly composed of two systems that collaborate with each other, a concrete structure combined with free-form frames, which are enveloped by a set of fiberglass reinforced concrete panels that act as seams on the exterior surface. To achieve large-scale column-free spaces that allow visitors to experience the fluidity of the interior, the vertical structural elements are absorbed by the envelope and curtain wall system. The building houses an auditorium, exhibition areas and various public spaces. Built to host some of the competitions during the London Olympics in 2012, the Aquatic Centre will be the first place that the visitor will contemplate when entering the Olympic Park. The building's shape is inspired by the whirlpools and complex geometries produced by moving water, and generates with its displacements and twists a set of exterior and interior spaces, which allude to the sinuous riverside landscapes of the Olympic Park. An undulating roof rises from the ground like a wave, enclosing the center's pools with its unifying gesture of fluidity, while at the same time describing the volume of the pools. The structure of the roof rests on 3 elements as supports, allowing the spectators a view without structural obstructions. This plastic argument is consistent with a rigorous requirement for flexibility, as the building must be able to respond effectively programmatically to 2 different situations: accommodating more than 17,500 spectators during the games, and accommodating only 2,000 once the games are over, and demand is only local. The London Aquatic Centre, the second largest building at the 2012 Games, contains 2 Olympic-sized pools and a diving pool. Zaha Hadid, first female architect to receive the Pritzker Prize. Her work experiments with new conceptions of space, where the urban landscape is enhanced in the search for a visionary aesthetic that circumscribes all fields of design.